Keep it real.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BEV4REAL show. Listen, I am having so much fun about this. Again, what you know no good? Because my grandchildren are always asking questions that I love to share. So, hey, at my daughter's house, she said, Mommy, can you cook? Sure. She wanted me to make her some black eyed peas and rice. Sure. And then I told the grandkids about the story, how I never wanted to eat them. As a little girl, my mother would make them, and when she first made them for me for the very first time, I wouldn't eat them. Do you know why? Because they were eyeballs looking at me. I said, Mommy, I can't eat these. They're looking at me. There's a whole bunch of eyes. I said, I can't eat this. So I felt like they were looking at me. I was looking at them, and they were looking at me, and I was looking at them. But I knew they weren't going in here. So we stared at each other. I didn't eat, but it was all right with me. And that's what I know. No good. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BEV4REAL show. Listen, today is a great special day. I'm telling you, I'm super excited. I couldn't wait for this day to come. I have a phenomenal guest, Mr. Wesley Sr. That's right, Cam Wesley from the Voice Father sitting here with me. What an honor. Welcome, Mr. Wesley. How
Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm well.
Good. It's an honor to have you here with me today. I really could not wait for today to get here. So tell me a little bit about yourself and where you were born and raised and, just let's talk.
All right. Well, I'm a country boy from Hopkins, South Carolina, raised up by my grandmother, which she adopted me. My biological mother put me up for adoption because she had some difficulties when she was a young girl. And so my grandmother adopted me, kept me in the family, the Wesley family, and raised me from an infant to a young man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So tell me a little bit about your childhood growing up.
Well, my childhood is a country life. It's like any other country boy. You know, you're growing up in the deep South. You experience a lot of different type of things, from racism to a great country life. You wouldn't know that you're poor until you leave the country and become a young man. But growing up, you begin to understand where you are in the world. Yeah. As I got older, I began to understand that we didn't have the things that the life comforts of other people around us. But as I got older, I understood that I had to help out more with my grandmother. I realized that I didn't have like a mother and a father, the traditional family life. And I began to become more educated and more self-aware about, my education level went above and beyond my grandmother's. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
So I was made self-aware of the surroundings, and I began to understand that I was able to read better than my grandmother, and so as a young child, I had to mature a lot faster. So I don't know if I had a real honest childhood, I would say, but it was still great. The memories that I have is I wouldn't give them up for anything. I love my grandmother.
Absolutely.
May she rest in peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I heard you saying the part of growing up and your education. How were you in school? I know, right? Tell me about how were you, growing up, and you mentioned the part about, the mother and father and seeing the other youth in school with a parent. did that make you angry, or, tell me about that.
Well, interesting story. You know, you did. I didn't know a child wouldn't know what they don't have unless it's taught. And back then in the 70s, we live in a deep country life, and you would think that we were hip to what's going on maybe 15 minutes up the road across the highway, but we didn't. So I wasn't privy to cable TV and all that stuff. So I just didn't know a lot of things. I was ignorant to a lot of things. So I was in fifth grade, and a teacher was doing a survey because the government wanted to know, did you have any parents in the military? Mm-hmm. And of course I didn't. But she went around to each student and asked, what's your mother and your father's name? And of course I didn't know my father's name. But when she came to me, because she was very rude and crude toward me throughout my elementary school year, and I told her what my grandmother's name was. She said, no, that's not your mother, that's your grandmother. You don't have a mother. Mm. And this hurt me very deeply because I was not aware that my grandmother was actually my grandmother. I always knew her as my mother. Right. And I'm in the fifth grade. So from that morning, I really wasn't present in school mentally. So when I got home, I asked her. I asked my grandmother, I said, who's my mother? And she said, I am. I said, no, my teacher told me, who is my mother? I want to know. Mm-hmm. And then she told me, you go back and tell her I'm your mother. That's all she needs to know. But that's how I kind of found out that, I was actually adopted into the family because I started snooping and pooping and looking at stuff and looking at papers and stuff. So I was in the fifth grade. I kind of went in the backyard. I cursed out God. I was mad and I was very upset. But anyways, so that's how my school went for me, along the way. And that's kind of how I found out about the parent situation and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a difficult, time at that point, I'm sure, finding that out from a teacher, not within the home. Yeah. So behavior-wise with the school, I know you said you were angry.
Yeah, no, I did. I was a very smart kid. I was on straight A's. I was being considered being skipped a grade, but my grades plummeted. They went down because no one really checked my grades, and I did everything on my own. Similar like my kids now, my two boys. But we were very involved in that. I would say we are very involved in their grades. But no one checked. So when no one checks a kid's grades, unless they're very motivated, I decided not to worry about, just do the bare minimum to get by because nobody loves me. It's the way it's probably what I felt back then. So yeah, I cut up. I was very angry in school, angry at teachers, probably angry at more angry at the question of why I didn't have a family, a mother and a father like everybody else has. Because I wanted the shoes, the clothes, or the life that I thought that would make me normal, so to speak. But anyways, yeah, I wasn't in trouble, but I did what I wanted to do. Okay. I didn't get like in trouble with the law, but I wouldn't do my homework to the fullest. I just did enough to get by. Right. When I could have been probably the leader of the free world because I had a photographic memory that I didn't really use as much as I should. I only use it when I wanted to use it. So, it's true. If you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right.
But I could look at things and memorize a sheet of paper or 2 sheets of paper and pass only when I needed. And so I like to think that my kids have that talent. But yeah.
Boy, I wish I was in class with you. Okay.
Yeah, I made good grades when I wanted to make them.
Right.
And that's the God-given truth. So.
Right.
But I had the talent, but I just didn't care.
And that's probably what's, I'm not going to say probably, I'm sure that's the principle of what's a lot of going on in the schools today. You know, the youth feeling the same way. Like, my parents is not paying attention, or do they really love me? So you're in high school. It's graduation time. So you see what all you've been through, you've seen and you know your past. What is your plan when you finish with school?
Well, I was very intelligent. I would say that intelligent than most kids, because I was forced in a situation where I had to grow up fast. So I had a contingency plan. My contingency plan was to go into the military. That was the backup plan. Then I ran track, I wrestled, I ran cross country. I got in shape. That was part of the plan for going to the military. But the first plan was to see what college life would look like. So I did get some scholarship offers, but no one told me, because I'm highly competitive, that grades equal money. Now, had they told me that in school, I probably would have done, I know I would have done a lot better, but I didn't know that. I thought that you just need to get out of school and then the work began. That's what I thought. So me being stubborn and not really thinking about the future, the college, and I thought about the process of me not having the family to back me up if I needed books and money, and not knowing how that process works. I said, well, even if I go to college, nobody's going to be able to help me with money. I didn't know anybody to talk to, because the counselor was the only person I really could talk to about college, and she kept dismissing me. So I said, well, I can't fail myself. And I know if I go in the military, I'm going to be successful. So I enlisted in the military.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Mr. Wesley, we had a wonderful conversation just now. We were talking about the military. So let's go back there for a moment. Okay, so you're in the military. Tell me what all took place and how you became who you were in the military.
Well, a lot took place, but before I even went in the military, I was highly prepared for the military through the teachings of my grandmother. So I give her all the credit for that. But some of the things that I endured, the one thing I'm very proud of was becoming a ranger, which I was fully prepared for that. I will always be a ranger, which is one of the most elitist special ops that the military can offer. And I became a company sniper, which is part of the battalion. But I traveled around the world to many different countries, two-time Gulf War. I don't know, my military time was very well deserved and very well appreciated. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about serving the country and why America is the way it is. It's a very wealthy country. We are very fortunate to live in America. If you never served, I think everyone should serve at least 2 years.
Okay.
It's just my opinion. And then you would truly appreciate why we have what we have. It's a unique place.
That's awesome. That's good to hear, because I think that is a great opportunity for any young person to be able to, especially if you're in a situation where your surroundings is not always the greatest, and you want to be different from everybody else and not be a follower. What a great place to go to be free from that, right? And then travel and get to see the world at the same time.
I will say I had a great leader in the JRTC program that taught me to be a great leader. You must first become and be a great follower, and that's so true. Because I was very immature. I won't say very immature, but I was somewhat immature when I went into the military, and I learned to be a good follower. So I became a great leader in the military. I experienced a lot of great fortune in the military. And I was promoted to captain while I was NCO for a week, just so I can get the experience. Um, I was considered going to Green to Gold, going to the Citadel. I had a lot of great opportunities to do more in the military than most. Um, but fortunately for me, I decided to get out and become a father.
Okay, so let's talk about it. You're married now.
Mm-hmm.
You have your two beautiful, wonderful, talented young men. Let's talk about them.
Tyler and Cam.
Yes.
Yes. Like I said, I knew I wanted to get married. I knew I wanted to start a family at the age of 25 was my cutoff. Because I wanted to be 35 and my kid to be 10.
You had a plan.
I had a plan.
Okay.
I wanted to be young and having fun with my son. And I just knew he was going to be a boy. Thank God for it, because I just claimed it. But it happened to be my firstborn child was a boy, and I knew he was going to be a junior. So Cam was born in Charlotte, Cam was born in Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
And he's a great kid. He has some of my traits at times, but more of his mom traits and characteristics. He's very more of an introvert at times, but he likes to keep things level and very observant. But if you show any signs of betrayal, he'll get rid of you.
Okay.
Very, very good at reading people.
That's awesome.
Very good at reading people. And Tyler is like me, my younger self.
Okay.
Very vocal, speaks his mind.
Okay.
And they're both good at reading people. They're very observant, detectors. They both work well together in the business setting. My wife and I have done a great job on that front, installing traits of business-minded kids. When they were young, I would play with them with toys. Where we had little Tonka trucks and stuff, and we would just play on the floor. And I would say, "Come on, let's go check on the workers," And I would instill in them the mindset of being leaders and bosses then. And we wouldn't play and hit the trucks. We would say, "Come on, let's go check on the workers, and let's go check on our business." And so the concept then was to instill in them that they were leaders and bosses. And it started early then, because I remember reading in a book that kids become who they are by the age of 7. And it was very important to me then to instill in them who I wanted them to gear toward their thinking and who they want to become by that time.
Right.
And I didn't know if it's true, but I kind of think, when did I thought who I wanted to become, or the mindset, my thinking process set in? I said it had to be very early, so there's some truth to that, So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I was part of that process. And so I did that on purpose. My wife and I, we had a plan to make sure we was involved in that process, and not the TV and not the video games.
Right.
And so we didn't buy video games in our house until they were like, I don't know, 16, 17. We were part of that process.
That's awesome, because that's all in homes now. I mean, they get up in the morning, they're on that game.
Well, I would say this: we did buy a Nintendo, the GameCube, which is more family oriented. You know,
Right.
you played a little monkey ball thing and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, but that was family time.
Right.
So all four of us played.
Right.
Even when Tyler wasn't young enough to play, we just put it on computer mode, and he thought he was playing and stuff.
Right.
So it was hilarious. That was family time. But yeah, that's what it
That's
was.
awesome. That's awesome to hear that family time. It's not much anymore. You know, it's almost like a mark mix. It just doesn't happen. And I think that's so important. And I see a lot of that on the show. If we can go back to the days where we did sit at the home, you know, I know growing up for me, my mom made sure we ate dinner together. You know, we would talk. And I think that's so good to hear in this time and era that that's who you are, you know, and you spend a lot of time with your boys. So tell me about their personalities together. I mean, you know, they both are very talented. We know Cam was in The Voice. And Tyler, oh my goodness, he's doing movies. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Tyler's he's a little different. He was a very young kid, and he did a play at the local elementary school, and he didn't want to do it, I think, but he actually did very well. He has that photographic memory type thing going on there, and at the end of the play, he got a standing ovation, and he asked his mom. He said, you know, how no, let me back up. He was watching TV, and the story is he asked his mother, how do I do that? And my wife told him ask him how do you do what? And he said, how do I do what she's doing? And my mom said, well, you have to go to school and you have to act and do all this stuff. He said, that's what I want to do. He was very young. And so that is what he inspired to do. And then one day he went to elementary school, and when he finished the play, the kids all applauded and cheered, and voila, he loved the applause. He loved that. And he's been doing that, chasing that, and getting it every time. And so Tyler was born on stage. Tyler Jordan Wesley is what he goes by, his stage name. And so Tyler's been doing his thing, and he is very, very, very good. Now, I wouldn't tell him that, but he might see this. But he is very good at his craft. But we look to see Tyler do, and I hope I'm alive to see him do great things down the road. He's very good. And I hope and pray that he get a chance to show the world his true talent. But he is very good.
He's doing great. He's on his third third play.
Yeah. It's a musical movie and all kind of stuff. I think you saw a little clip of it. Yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's doing his thing.
Awesome. Yeah. Now give us an update on Cam as well. What is Cam up to since The Voice?
Cam's been putting out music and making music and videos and writing music. He's putting it all together. I think he released a single, but he's in the works now, getting ready to release something here this month. A single. I think it's going to be nice. And he's getting ready to shoot the video now.
Okay.
So we look forward to seeing that come out.
All right, y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Fresh off the press.
Yeah.
Fresh off the press.
This month. So it's going to be nice. It's long awaited. I think he co-written it with Natalie Henby. She's part of the High Women. She's she's Songwriter of the Year.
Oh wow!
So if you don't know Natalie Henby, look her up. She's a very, very good writer. But anyways, Cam's doing his thing.
All right.
They're both doing great things.
All right. So I'm going to ask the big question. All right. So you have the singer and the actor. Okay. So who's the singer in the family? It's normally the mom or the dad. Which one?
We both have singers on both sides of our family. We really do. My wife can carry a tune. She probably won't tell you, but she can. And Of course, back in the day, I sung a little bit. I actually had a singing group. But it's true what they say. You don't use it, you lose it. We both sang a little something around the house, but nothing to where these boys have taken it. Um, they took the talent far beyond than both of what we could do. I'm sure if my wife and I probably hunkered down and took it serious, maybe in a year or two, we could probably do something.
It sooner. I heard a little bird tell me that you can blow too. I'm just saying, yeah, somebody told me, but I'm not going to go there.
Maybe my youthful days when I was to sing cadence and stuff in the military, yeah, I would say that. But now, those muscles, those vocal cords ain't doing nothing.
So
I heard somebody here. But yeah.
Well, who has the acting?
Now we both are animated. My wife and I,
Mm-hmm.
we both love it. When it,
Yeah, I'm touching on. I know you'll be acting up around now.
Yeah, we get up. We both. My wife loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to give her most of the acting because she can name off actors and stuff. She's into the arts.
Awesome.
We both are sports people,
Mm-hmm.
but you are what your children are. We indulge in that into the music realm. When my son started singing, I bought a book. I read it through and through, so I know a lot about the lingo. And when my son got into the acting, I bought a book. I read it, so I can be adverse on everything.
Right.
So, my wife and I, we are what we need to be for our kids. And so we understand that she knows a lot, I know a lot. So, I mean, we both have degrees. You got to use it somehow,
Right.
so, yeah. I mean, we both can act. I mean, we both done skits. So it is what it is.
All right.
I wouldn't try to go, well, I wouldn't go to Hollywood and try to do something, but yeah, I wouldn't claim it. I let the boys have their thing.
You let them do their
Yeah.
thing. That's so awesome. I know both of you are so proud of them.
Yeah.
So proud of them. And, it's just beautiful. Again, I'm honored to sit with you. And you're so well grounded with yourself. And I think that is so awesome. I had the opportunity to watch you in front of other young people to give them encouragement. And I seen them like at first they were slouching. By the time you finished, they were up at attention. And when you were talking, it was like you were telling them a story that it grabbed them, and you were walking as you were talking, and I just watched their heads because they were so into it. So my question to you is, what did you instill into your boys to carry with them into their future?
Well, it's a lot. I think discipline. Cam was probably 3 months old when he started responding to my voice. And I was holding him and he started sticking his finger in an electrical outlet. Believe it or not. I almost say 3 months, maybe 6 months. And I said, stop. And he responded. And so the second time he did it, he looked at me. And I said, stop. And he stopped. And then he tried it again. And I said, stop. And then I hurt his feelings. And he cried. But from that point on, I started to discipline him in a certain way. And I believe that certain type of discipline and not friendship is needed in a household. And I say that in a way, in a loving way. I know maybe not everybody believes in discipline, but if you ask my boys right now, what changes a man, and they will tell you pain. Pain changes a man. And so you can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk all you want, but pain changes a person. And so, and I'm not saying you have to beat your kid, because there were times when I used to make my boys do push-ups. They'll do 3 push-ups, 5 push-ups for whatever they did. And the fact that they had to do them, they cried. They didn't want to do it because they didn't want to do it because it causes some type of pain.
Right.
Because either they had to do 3 push-ups and then stay in the push-up position, and I would just wait until they got muscle fatigue, or the fact that they didn't know if they was gonna, they had to do them, but they cried because they knew some type of pain was gonna be inflicted on them. And so I instilled in them, me, not the parents, not my wife and I, because we both instilled something different in them. Right. Because it has to be father time and mother time, then it has to be parents time. So it has to be 3 different types. Wow, and then if you remember what I said, by the time they're 7-year-old, they become who they are. And so it's very important that a father's involved into their child's life at an early part of their time, or they can become something else. All right. So I instilled in them discipline and the fortitude that they need. So when they got that discipline in them very early, by the time my sons were a full 1-year-old, all I had to do was just tell them to do something, and they do it. I didn't have to do it at 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. I didn't have to spank them, beat them, yell at them. All I had to say, Cam, go clean your room. Yes, sir. And they clean it. So here they are, grown men. And I said, Cam, do this. Yes, sir. Because they are who I instilled them to be. But we instilled in them, for, of course, their faith, God. Don't believe the hype that is you. Because people are going to tell you, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, but no, you're not.
Oh, that's deep.
No, you're not. Yeah, you want to be great, but you're not the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's a lot of different things. I mean, you can go on and on and on, because you have to be well-rounded.
Right.
Cam is very humble. I mean, he's been on TV. But before he's been on TV, he's already been on stage at the fest in Louisiana. I can't think of the place name.
New Orleans?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the show, the big stage. Essence.
Ah.
He's been on Essence twice.
Wow.
Yeah. So he'd been to Essence Festival twice before he went on The Voice. So, I mean, that's a dream come true for anyone, any artist.
Anyone.
But Cam's been on the stage at Essence twice before he went on The Voice. And still he was humble, And so don't believe the hype that is you. He met a lot of famous artists, big time names, but don't believe the hype that is you. You still be humble, because at any point in time, this could all be taken away from you.
That's right.
What are you doing currently to be the man that you need to become for your family that's going to be afforded to you, should God allow you to have one. Right. So there's a lot of different things that's been given to the boys early on in their life. Even something as simple as reading books to them. When I read a Mickey Mouse book or Pinocchio book or Lion King book, I didn't just read it. I read it with emphasis. I read it to the point to where
that actor.
Yeah, I read it with emphasis, and they would jump, and they would, every night I said, go to bed and come with a book. Yeah, will you read this book? Yeah, I read it, And I would employ any dad or mother or dad to read, but more so a dad to read a book, and you have to be the best reader. You just read it in a way that the kid can dream dreams beyond galaxies, beyond galaxies.
I like that.
Not for the stars, but beyond galaxies. So my kids dream. When they dream, they would come. I said, "What'd you dream about last night?" And they would tell me, "I dreamed about me being on riding Simba or riding the lion or dancing with Mickey Mouse, because I knew the impact of me reading a book with them would give them dreams beyond dreams.
Yes.
And those dreams I didn't have. And so I didn't just give them things like games or toys. I gave them something that I wish I had.
Oh,
You
wow,
know?
that's so deep.
And so I didn't have a father read me a book, but I gave them, things that you see on TV when you grow up. Oh, if you saw the Waltons reading a book to John Boy or something like that, or you saw these things on TV, well, they are real because they didn't just write it in a script.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the cream and separate from the sour and make it part of your life. And that's something my wife and we tell our kids, separate the cream from the sour and keep the cream. So that's a saying that they would use, right now.
That's
so
awesome. That's so awesome.
so
That's wow. That's deep. So we get ready to come to the end.
mm-hmm.
You have said so much that's so positive. If you had the opportunity to look into the screen and tell any young father or any young man that is watching this show, no matter what their situation is, no matter what it looks like, what advice can you give them and be able to let them know if they believe in their self, they can?
The advice I would give to them is simple. What I've been saying and echoing during this entire interview is be present in their life for the first 7 years of their child's life. But if you're not able to do that, that child is looking to become somebody by the time they're 13. You still have time. So if you can make that time from 11 to 13 years old, that child is then looking for that identity to plant themselves into the world. So try to be there for them. And then even still, I didn't meet my biological father till I was 24 years old. And the impact that meeting my father at that age has truly been great in my life, because it gives me the other half of the DNA I need in my life to complete myself. It truly took me to another humble space in my life, to give me identity and to complete my family tree and help me move on. So if a young father, if you haven't learned anything else or don't remember anything else I said or didn't get anything else I said in this process, read to your kids, be available for your kids, let them know that you will always be there. There's no book, no blueprint, and there's no right or wrong way of being a father. Just be honest. I grew up without a father and my mother in my life. I had my grandmother who had a second grade education. So, but if you want to be in that child's life, it can't do anything but enhance them. So, yeah.
That's great advice. That's great advice. Mr. Wesley Sr.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say senior because I know Cam is definitely that junior.
That's correct.
He's definitely a junior. You're a big part of our organization.
Mm-hmm.
If you just give us a little briefing on that, and if any parent that is watching that would like to have their children be a part of your program, is there any way that they can reach you?
I am the chairman of the Omega Psi Phi chapter, Omicron Phi chapter here in Columbia, South Carolina, of Boys to Men Club. We been helping young boys through difficult times for a while now, for about 5 to 7 years. I am also going to expand to a nonprofit, my own nonprofit here sometime this year. My wife and I have our own boys club. So, but if there's any parent out there that have a child that's looking, that you think that needs our type of help, you can reach me at Cameron_Wesley Sr. That's SR@yahoo.com. Cameron Wesley Sr. That's SR@yahoo.com. And give me a brief synopsis of what's going on with your child, a contact number and your name, and then I will reach out to you and we can go from there. Yeah, that's it.
Mr. Wesley Sr., I appreciate you
Mm-hmm.
so much. I am so full right now. And I'm full because I didn't grow up with a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, you just blessed me today. And I thank you so much because I know your schedule is absolutely full. I'm honored that you took time out to be a part of the BEV4REAL show.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to having you back again.
Thank you.
With that being said, we thank you for joining us again for the BEV4REAL show, and we'll see you next week.